Jehovah's name of paramount concern to God's people. Part 2 discusses the need to glorify Jehovah in our dress and grooming. The next part considers the aspect whether you are eating or drinking. And finally, the concluding part addresses some other ways to glorify God when doing anything else. Let's give our attention now to Brother Bob Banks as he begins this symposium with the talk, Jehovah's Name of Paramount Concern to God's People. Brother Banks.
The Watchtower of December 1st, 1998, made this comment. A witness said, and I quote, "The turning point in my life came when I learned the name of God. When I read it for the first time, it was as if I had awakened from a deep sleep. The name of Jehovah shook me and moved me. It touched the deepest part of me," unquote. We all have come to appreciate that the name of Jehovah is not just a word, just identifies Him as the one and only true God. Though that name stands for Jehovah's reputation, and it also stands for His fame. As we think back or reflect on the Israelites, they failed to give Jehovah exclusive devotion. Notice this thought that's recorded for us in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 7. And verse 7 of Exodus chapter 20 reads, "You must not take up the name of Jehovah your God in a worthless way. For Jehovah will not leave the one unpunished who takes up His name in a worthless way." Yes, as we reflect back on the Israelites, they heaped great reproach on Jehovah's name. That name was very important. Yes, taking up Jehovah's name in a worthless way showed no respect for Jehovah. But how did this make Jehovah feel? In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, turn there with me as we consider verse 21. Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 21. "And I shall have compassion on my holy name, which the house of Israel have profaned among the nations where they have come in." Yes, Jehovah, our God, being a compassionate God, had compassion for His name, and also for those who bear His great and holy name. As we reflect on that, the Israelites were considered to be Jehovah's Witnesses. So they should have lived up to that name in which they bear. We too have made a dedication to Jehovah, and we have symbolized this dedication publicly. We bear the name of Jehovah. Thereby we are Jehovah's Witnesses. The Bible too also brings our attention, and we know from accurate knowledge in which we've learned that we are living in a time of judgment. And according to 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7, in part it says that judgment starts with the house of God. So we will be judged according to how we use the name of Jehovah. So what should be our concern? Well, notice this thought that we have taken from the Watchtower of February 1st, 2004. And it reads, and I quote, Our prayer for the sanctification of Jehovah's name shows where we stand on the issue of universal sovereignty. Jehovah wants the universe to be inhabited by intelligent creatures who willingly and joyfully submit to his righteous sovereignty because they love him and they love all that his name represents. Our love for Jehovah's name will help us to refrain from doing anything that might bring reproach upon that holy name. Yes, we want to bear Jehovah's name in a way that glorifies him. Consider with me as we read together in the book of Luke. That's Luke chapter 12, and we'll read together verse 48. That's Luke chapter 12 and verse 48. But the one that did not understand and so did things deserving of strokes will be beaten with few. Indeed, everyone to whom much was given, much will be demanded of him. And the one whom people put in charge of much, they will demand more than usual of him. Notice the thought that's mentioned here. One to whom much is given, much will be demanded. So those of us as bearers of Jehovah's name, let us not content ourselves with doing as little as possible in living up to the name of Jehovah. And keep this thought in mind, that questionable conduct can stumble others. Or we may have a reproach on Jehovah's name. If so, pray to Jehovah to repair any damage our conduct may have caused. And think about this as well. Whether sin is involved or not, the sanctification of God's name should always, yes, always, be our main concern. And remember, too, that good conduct has attached many honest-hearted ones to the truth. You may recall this experience, which was in the June 15th of 2005 watchtower. This was an 11-year-old girl who faced great pressure in school to celebrate the holidays. But she respectfully told her teacher why she refused. But her teacher continued to shame her and bring ridicule upon her. But this young girl remained respectful to her teacher. But some years later, this young sister, being a regular pioneer, at a convention, was looking at the baptism take place, and she saw a familiar face being baptized. Yes, it was her former teacher. And after a hearty embrace, then she mentioned to our young sister she had never forgot her students' formal behavior. Yes, our conduct can be a very powerful way to praise Jehovah. And two, our conduct can attract people to the truth. Or in other words, our bad conduct can repel people from listening to our message. You recall the words of Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 11. But Jehovah said, make a reply to the one who has taunted me. Well, we have to keep in mind that our actions will either help or hinder in answering that challenge that Satan made to Jehovah. So we want to make Jehovah's heart glad. And consider this experience of our dear sister Alina from the country of Spain. She had several classmates who were blood donors. Now they knew Alina was a Jehovah's Witness, and that she would not donate or accept blood transfusions. So Alina volunteered to give a presentation to her class. And this is what she said, and I quote, "Frankly, I felt very nervous about doing this. I prepared well, and the results were surprising. I won the respect of many of my fellow students. And the teacher told me that he admired the work I was doing. Above all, she says, I felt satisfied that I had defended the name of Jehovah. Unquote. So, my brothers and sisters, when we act wisely, we glorify Jehovah's great name, and we bring pleasure to his heart. As we continue this symposium, glorifying God in all aspects of ourselves, we give our attention to Brother Randy Harris on the part in dress and grooming.